Detective Elias Rowan was the kind of man who noticed everything: the faintest twitch in a liar's smile, the smudge of ink on a forged document. But after 3 days on the road chasing a lead that went nowhere, all he noticed was how wet and cold he was. The rain was relentless, hammering the windshield as his car crawled through the countryside. When the engine sputtered and died, he coasted to the side of the narrow road. His cell signal was gone. Half a mile back, he passed a flickering sign, Crestwick Hotel. It hadn't looked inviting, but shelter was shelter. He slung his duffel over his shoulder and trudged through the downpour until the shape of the building loomed out of the fog. A tall, narrow hotel with peeling paint and an air of forgotten time. Inside, the lobby was dimly lit by a single chandelier, its crystals dulled with dust. The wallpaper curled at the edges, but the reception desk gleamed as if it had been polished that very morning. Behind it stood an elderly man in a perfectly pressed suit, his eyes strangely glassy. "You're a lucky man," the receptionist said in a low voice. "We've got one room left. Room 6, don't wander upstairs." Rowan opened his mouth to ask about the warning, but the man slid a brass key across the desk and turned away. Room 6 was on the ground floor, halfway down a dim corridor. Inside, it was clean but old-fashioned, heavy curtains, a mahogany desk, and a bed that sagged in the middle. Rowan's exhaustion swallowed him whole. He lay down fully clothed and fell asleep. Somewhere in the depths of the night, music pulled him awake. A soft, wavering melody. A gramophone, he thought. The tune was old-fashioned, bittersweet, almost hypnotic. He remembered the receptionist's warning, "Don't wander upstairs," but his detective's mind whispered, "Rules hide secrets." The staircase groaned under his weight. The second-floor hallway was pitch black, except for one door at the far end, glowing faintly with warm, golden light. The door had no number. Rowan knocked. No answer. The music stopped. Something about the stillness chilled him, but he tried the handle. The door creaked open to reveal a room frozen in time, patterned wallpaper, a desk with neatly stacked letters, a glass of brandy half finished, smoke curling from a lit pipe. A man sat in the armchair by the window, wearing a gray suit. His face was calm, but his eyes were endless, ancient. "You shouldn't be here," the man said softly. "It's not your time yet." The air seemed to shift, and suddenly Rowan was standing in a rotting, dust-choked shell of a room. Furniture collapsed, wallpaper shredded, air thick with mildew. The man was gone. The gramophone lay shattered in the corner. Back in the lobby, Rowan found the receptionist still at the desk, though his hair seemed wetter now, as if he had just come in from rain. "There's no upstairs in this hotel, sir," the old man said when Rowan spoke. "It burned down 30 years ago." Rowan stared at him. "Then where was I just now?" The receptionist gave a slow, uneasy smile. "You must have been dreaming. You look tired." But Rowan noticed something on the desk, an old leather-bound ledger. The last few pages were filled with neat handwriting, listing guest names and dates. The final entry made his stomach tighten. Elias Rowan, August 12th, 2025, room 6, and below it, another entry dated 30 years earlier, Edward Lorne, August 12th, 1995, room 6, deceased. The next morning, Rowan's car was mysteriously working again. Back in the city, he started digging. Edward Lorne, 38, a wealthy industrialist, had died at the Crestwick Hotel on August 12, 1995. Official cause: accidental fall down the second-floor staircase. The second floor burned the following year in a fire no one could explain. The case file included a grainy photograph of Edward Lorne. Rowan froze. The face was unmistakable. It was the man in the gray suit. 2 weeks later, Rowan returned to Crestwick. The hotel was gone, replaced by an empty, overgrown lot. No sign it had ever stood there. Yet in his coat pocket, the brass key to room 6 was still warm to the touch. That night in his apartment, he awoke again to the faint sound of a gramophone, the same bittersweet tune. This time, the music was coming from inside his own locked bedroom.